Hi, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about 5 things that I think new players probably want to know before they get too deep into Lord of the Rings. So let's get started. Number 1, character creation. Lord of the Rings started off as a very typical MMO where you've got tanks, healers, and DPS, and it's largely the same way now. However, um, the solo play in Lord of the Rings is very doable for pretty much any class. So don't feel like you have to choose the best class or I want a solo. I don't have um, a lot of friends to play online with yet, so I need to be able to solo. Therefore, what's the best class for soloing, or what can I do in the game solo? Frankly, the entire game is capable of being done with a solo character, except for things like 12-man raids and 6-man raids, and some of that group content that is specifically designed for groups. There are instances where you've got to toggle game mechanics that require multiple characters. The Rift, in fact, is one of them where you have to do a couple of things on 2 different characters. And there's other raids and other instances where that has to happen. Of course, those are virtually impossible to do solo. But in terms of like the story and most of the questing and the experience of the game, you can do that solo. So my advice to a new player is read the descriptions for the different classes, like you see here, and go down and say, I think I would like to play that. Give it a try. And, it doesn't take very long to get to level 20. By level 20, you will have an understanding of how that class is going to play. Go further if you want to, but it's not a significant time commitment to get to level 20 where you start to really understand and get a feel for kind of what that character class is going to be like. So if you really enjoy healing, then pick one of the classes that focuses mostly on healing or excels at healing. Minstrel, obviously, Runekeeper, the Bjorn can actually do healing pretty well. The Captain can kind of be a healer as well. Uh, Typically, what you see in the game is for healers, you've got Minstrels and Runekeepers are the primary two. When it comes to DPS, you've got lots of choices, even things that you might consider to be a little bit more tanky can certainly DPS. The Captain can DPS. The Guardian can DPS. Um, so, don't feel like you're going to be pigeonholed if you like to play a tank, but if you're going to solo for a while until you learn the game and stuff like that, are you going to be, handicapped? Not really. Just configure yourself in the DPS specification for that class, and even as a Guardian, you can DPS just fine. A Warden can DPS and tank. So you've got a lot of options. So don't feel like you have to choose the best thing out of the gate. Choose what you think you're going to enjoy and go ahead and play that. All right, the second tip that I think a new player would probably like to know about is the epic story and just, questing in general with Lord of the Rings. Uh, as you start the game, you'll end up, you'll typically start in one of several tutorial areas where you'll get a very brief introduction to your character and the mechanics of the game. And some people get kind of confused or lost as to, okay, now what do I do? There is an epic story that will take you through the bulk of this game. And if you continue to execute the epic story quest lines, that will kind of take you through Middle Earth. If you're playing a Hobbit, you typically start in the Shire. If you're playing an Elf, you start in Colondum. If you play a man or several other characters, you start in Archet, and then you go to Coombe, and then you go to Bree, and then you go to Lone Lands, and it'll kind of take you through the game. There are lots of quests and side quests and adventures that you can get into. You're not bound to follow the epic story, but it does lead you through the game in a controlled way so that you can move and migrate from like one zone to another as you level up and get experience and such. So the epic story is a great way to kind of follow. the path of what you need to be doing in the game and where you should be and that sort of thing. Another thing that I'll suggest, I guess tip number three, are um, items that you can buy from the Lotro store. The Lotro store has lots of stuff. You can really blow a lot of Lotro points if you're not careful. Um, but one of the things that I'll mention is carryalls. So you can purchase these small, medium, and large carryalls, and you can get carryalls for a variety of things: housing items, crafting items, task items. And carryalls can really make inventory management a lot easier. On all my characters that I play, I try to have at least one crafting carryall. And if I can afford it, I get the large ones. They will hold a number of items, and items will stack, and you can have them auto collect along the way. So you can see here, this one will hold 25 individual items, and they stack up automatically. And if you turn the auto flag on as you pick up crafting items, they go directly into the carryall. So that is very, very convenient, and I would recommend carryalls to everybody. If you can afford, if you've got the Lotro points, then that'll definitely make your life easy. The next thing I'm going to talk about, tip number four, are VIP rewards. If you're a VIP, uh, there are VIP reward vendors like this in a lot of different places. The housing areas have them. Bree has one right here at the Boar Fountain. And if you talk to them, you can get a VIP reward quest, which will get you a subscriber jug, which accelerates crafting time, prevents item wear from combat, crafting, and defeat. So if you're crafting, you craft faster and your tools don't break. If you are in combat, you take damage. Your gear will get damaged and you'll have to repair it. But if you have your jug active, then you won't. And if you get defeated in combat, typically you also take damage on all your gear and you have to repair it. But if you've got the jug active, then you won't. So, and it lasts, the buff lasts, I think, for like 14 days, or yeah, 14 days. I just started this one not long ago. So you can come back and you can see that it resets fairly quickly. I think it's a 16-hour reset. So you can come back and you can pick up a new one if you delete it by accident. The other benefit of getting the VIP reward is you also get this town services item in your inventory, and you can click on it, and from anywhere in the game you can pull up a vendor where you can sell things. You can pull up your vault and you can see what's in your vault. You can access the auction house from anywhere, where you can buy and sell items anywhere in the world. Super handy to have this, especially if you have a shared vault and you want to pull something out and you're out in the wilderness doing something. You don't have to go run back to town to find the vault person. You can just pull up your vault anywhere in the world. Super, super helpful. Okay, the last tip, number five, are tasks reputation. So you can go to these task boards that you see all over Middle Earth, and depending on what level you are, you may or may not have tasks available to you. You can see here I've got 3 that are available. So I can click on this, and I can take this task to collect blackened filth, and it wants 10 of them, and it will increase reputation with the Men of Bree. If I accept that, I've only got 1, so I can't turn that one in. Let's try that one. Oh, I've got none, so I can't turn that in. Wet fur, and I've got none, so I can't turn that in. When I collect those, I will be able to turn them in for reputation and XP. Now you might ask, why is that important? Well, there are benefits to having reputation with a particular zone. You get travel discounts, you get vendor discounts, and some areas like Bree also have a return to skill that you can use instead of your milestone for traveling to a new area. You can, out of the box, you can turn in 5 tasks per day. You can increase your task limit using mithril coins, but I wouldn't recommend it. They're kind of expensive and you don't get a whole lot. Uh, There's also multiple deeds for turning in tasks. And if you turn in 100 tasks, you get this little token that you can click on, which will increase the number of daily tasks that you can turn in by one. So, and there are 5 different deeds. So, if you are diligent about turning in tasks every day, then after 100 tasks, you can turn in 6 a day. And then after another 100, you can turn in 7 a day. Eventually, you get to be able to turn in 10 a day. And I think it caps at 500 tasks. You've earned all your little +1 tokens and you can't get any more on that character. But by then you've got 10 tasks per day. And where that's really helpful is if you're in an area that requires a certain amount of reputation to earn a reward you're looking for, like I said, a return skill, or perhaps there's something you want to buy for your for housing or crafting or something like that, and it's locked behind a certain level of reputation, then having 10 tasks that you can turn in every day means that you can quickly gain more reputation without having to actually do quests, run around and kill mobs, and that sort of thing. You just go to the task board, pick the task, and if you've got the task items that you've collected along the way, you just turn them in. Sometimes you can find task items on the auction house for purchase, which is I guess, a really fast way to do that if you want to. But I think tasks are a good way of helping you be prepared for leveling. So don't ignore those along the way. Pick those tasks up and turn them in along the way. And I think you'll see the benefit later on. So there you go, 5 tips for a new player. And if you found those helpful, like the video, that'd be great. If you've got some other ideas or comments, just leave me a comment in the video. I do respond to those and I'd love to see those. So thanks for watching.